No, that ain't sports.
What you doing, a remix, man?
Yeah, it's remix.
That's okay.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Victor Allen's new Sportz. Written and directed by the bald-headed black man, Victor Allen's unique fan-based view of sports. That's right, by the man the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Rub his head and make a wish. A recurring segment of the Morning Cover with Mario show. Be there every week. Dress appropriately, sports bras and jockstrap. And now, here's Vic. Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang. I need it every second. You guys don't realize. And I was talking to my Periscope, Twitter, Facebook Live.me and Big O crew and telling them, you know what? I'm getting updates and I have to let it go through. It says, please do not turn off. Don't do anything. So I'm hoping that it doesn't go like this. Part 1 of 10. And I'm going, this is going to be funny as hell. It didn't. So maybe about 10 seconds before this song ended, I was able to get my display. So thank you for that extra extended song break, bro. Because I'm telling everybody, I needed the break. So you ready for this
So
one?
there we go. Dealing with it effectively.
Okay. I know we blasted out that my main topic was going to deal with the uniqueness of Paul Robeson. But I'm going to start off with something else because I'm trying to figure out, is this a smart play to the base where everybody's going to say thumbs up? Or are they going to sit there and say, is it political? Or is it an easy way to turn around and say this? You're not going to see this on the broadcast display. Saw some information here that President Trump asked the Chinese president to help the UCLA Bruins, the three brothers, LaMelo Ball, who were caught stealing on surveillance in 3 different stores at a high-end shopping mall. He asked, as presidentially representing the 3 students. Now, I want you to understand now, before you even go there.
Who's he catering to?
No. You need to do this for me, Mario. Smart move. Wait a minute. Don't, man. Smart move.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Smart. Dude.
I mean, I guess for him, yeah, because, like I said, who's he catering to? The point is, when you do these kind of things, you're looking for an impact. He's very conscious of media.
Right.
The president. So he's doing it to have a specific positive impact on some group. So you have to at least ask yourself who you think that group is.
Right.
You know, and as he responds to people. So it's the hip group, they're hip, concerned people about sports.
Right.
Sort of a modern hip group, but you could have conservatives and stuff in there too.
Right. Now,
But it makes him look like he's being compassionate and looking, not being a hard liner. So it has a lot of repercussions in that he's trying to pull with it. So, that's it's like, why are you doing? What's up?
right. I'll stand up and ask to intervene when it comes to the basketball players. Specifically, let me just say this. It's so unfair because LaMelo Ball, they only reference his name. Although there's 3 students, they really only reference his name as the lead because of the brand and the whole thing.
And that's right.
And so here's the other thing. So for those who haven't followed the story, let me just read off a small part and continue. There was surveillance footage of the player shoplifting from 3 stores in a high-end shopping center, which houses Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Yves Saint Laurent at Salvatore Ferragamo stores. So notice that the students, and I'm going to call them students right now, knew exactly where to go get the stuff that they wanted. At this time in their life, Mario, they don't have money, right? No excuse for stealing. But they're not rolling. So they're going into these stores. Not even... You would
thinking that they would be stand out, to be watched.
Nobody's even prepped them. Nobody's prepped them. Yeah.
Thinking.
I'm pretty sure somebody said, here's how you should conduct yourself. Be very careful. They didn't adhere to it, right?
Right. No, stupid.
Right. Okay, I get that.
We've all done stupid things. I'm glad this wasn't one of mine.
You can get off. Let me just say this. I'm not giving Donald Trump a lot of credit because I believe they were coming back anyway. Because if the Chinese want to turn it on, he says, we're going to do you a favor first. Let's do you a favor. And then you can couch it as if you're asking a favor. It's all this behind it. It's such a simple request, and it doesn't have all these extenuating circumstances when it comes to sports. They did the opposite. We're not going to hold on and try to hostage them for politics. So the part that I'm sitting up here saying, if you had to be a thief, wouldn't you love for the president to come and say, hey, I know could you give him a pass? This is going to be, dude, when they grow up, they're going to go like this. How many of you guys try to get away with something and have the president come calling on your car?
That's right.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Well, I tell you what, they're going to at least be able to say that, even though it's the one thing that seems has gotten Papa to shut up. He hasn't wanted to say anything.
Right.
He hasn't wanted to say very much anything.
Oh, no.
He knows he can aggravate the situation.
And look, you know what? This is, everybody's looking to target market. Okay, Papa. Don't get mad at the game. That's his game. And he found a way to make you guys love to hate him or hate to love him. Everybody knows it's both sides. But did he do a good job of saying, I'm going to do best for my sons?
Well, that's like the point being, you live by it.
That's right.
Everybody doesn't do it the same way,
right.
So you benefit by it.
Right.
And you suffer by it. I wouldn't have conducted myself that way.
No, I wouldn't either. We were, as children, Mario, you and I, we were smarter when we did bad things.
That's a choice issue.
Right.
But okay.
All right, so let me just go over to the next. Okay, I'm halfway home. The NFL season, the real kicks in. This is really about what teams are really striking up the band and getting attention. And the ones that I'm looking at right now are mostly in the NFC, but just to give you the table of what I'm looking at here, this is just the layout of all the teams and where they are, their point differentials. Going to get into that. But New England reigns supreme again, as I said at the beginning of the show when we kicked off Morning Coffee. And then the NFC seems like they have the teams that now are going to collide. The big four right now are Philadelphia, LA Rams, Minnesota, and the new player. This is the one I want to kick off with and find out, are they getting hot at the right time and have the right leadership? Because they came out of nowhere, and that's New Orleans. And New Orleans is kicking into gear, and their record shows that are they getting the right respect, or they just think that, oh no, this is one of those passing times. They'll come back down to earth, and they got Drew Brees, who is senior leadership, knows how to win, knows how to fight through it, and they got balanced running attacks and everything. So here's my question. Do you go with the best quarterback out of these four if you have to get down to the moment where it's in the playoffs? Because that's what they say. They take the quarterback who's the smartest one.
That's what they're saying is in the playoffs, that's the biggest concern, for example, with the Rams.
Right.
Who has a young quarterback.
Right.
That's inexperienced. Okay.
Right.
You wonder if that's going to be good enough as they start to throw those different schemes at them, including blitzes and everything else. So it comes up because of that. But as you say, to be seen, right?
Look,
Drew Brees, everybody feels gives you an advantage.
Yes.
New Orleans, everybody thinks is at least solid.
Right.
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 Whether or not they're a true contender or not will yet to be seen to me, but at least they're solid.
Right.
Just like Pittsburgh is solid.
Right.
But whether or not they're in that elite group,
right,
I don't know.
Now I'm gonna take it to a different direction. All right. I'm gonna go with the NFC and stay there right now because I'm not hating on the AFC, but just to give you a side note as to why I really can't talk too much about the AFC. In the first 4 games of the season, they were talking about Pittsburgh, undefeated Kansas City, of course New England, even Buffalo started off hot. Here we are past the halfway point. All of them just stopped. And it hit a level and dropped. Nobody's really standing out. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. New England comes up as it always does. There are no new teams that you can say can threaten them. So when you go look at the AFC, I said, well, don't go look at the AFC for right now. We'll table that after I hit the NFC. But I'm putting it out there to say, think of a team other than Pittsburgh or New England when we come back to it. That could be a player or not.
That's maybe it in the AFC.
That's why I said, just let's think for a second. I want to go to the NFC.
But the NFC is not that much different, Vic. It seems to me, Philadelphia stands out, Then you've got a cluster. See, to me, they stand out, and then Minnesota versus New Orleans versus the Rams.
Right.
Even though I give the Rams some of an edge,
Right.
there's still a cluster.
Which makes it more.
There's a cluster.
It's unpredictable which teams are going to
Even with
survive.
New Orleans,
Right.
Carolina, that's in there. Carolina, New Orleans.
Right.
Even the Falcons, you could make the argument.
One game doesn't rescue them, though.
Right. Yeah, they're in there.
Yeah.
There's a cluster of them. The only one that stands out right now,
Right.
is the Philadelphia. That in that next group, I have no idea.
Would you watch
anything
this?
could happen. Between Minnesota, Detroit, New Orleans, Carolina, and the Rams, and Seattle, and Dallas. Though Dallas.
No. Once you see what happens when they. Here's what they did. I'm glad you started off. No Ezekiel Elliott and Tyron Smith, that lineman that just creates havoc, took those two guys out of there. One on offense and the other on the other side of the ball, and they got waxed.
It's just that
waxed
in their
easy,
win-loss, Vic, they're all within one game of each other.
Right, but they don't have.
That's amazing. They were within 1 to 2. That's why there's a cluster, and none of them are really great.
Right.
Seattle, really?
Wait a minute. Dallas and Seattle have the same problem. The Legion of Doom, all the back, the defensive secondary, all are basically injured. And you take one of them off, you suffer. So all of them were playing healthily maybe a few weeks ago. Now, if you have to put your bet, you better look at the recovery because they don't have backups
The
and step in.
injuries are really changing the scene almost weekly.
Yeah.
Almost weekly.
And that includes Dallas. That's why everybody's going. It's not about that they lost to Atlanta. It's just that they only scored 7 points.
Right now.
Oh, it looks bad, man. So,
but they've all had games like that where they've looked horrible.
Yeah, they have, but
almost everybody up there is why I don't know who's what. I don't have a good feel. I go wow. In some ways it makes it a little more exciting because it actually, in a way, depending on your outlook, means parity.
Right. And
especially across the NFC, you have a cluster of teams that we don't know.
We don't know. And I'm always saying now, I am more, and this is why the fantasy stuff works out. Watch those injuries. Those injuries will tell you everything because these are some of the best people who can actually say, well, because I'm so exceptional, you don't have a backup that can come in and do what I do. You may have somebody who can come in and can fill the spot, which is going to lead me to another topic in a minute. And we're going to use that as an examination. So here's my question. If it came down to a conference final between Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, and New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, and they're fighting in the conference final, who you picking?
Philadelphia.
Over Brees?
Yeah, it's a better team to me. They're way better team to me.
All right.
I'm taking Philadelphia over all of them right now.
Right.
Like I said, to me, New Orleans is in a cluster.
Right.
With people who I don't, Atlanta thinks they're better than them. And they're two games behind, but they're only 2 games behind.
Right. I'm not worried about Atlanta. I think they have to recover from getting on that high, and they're learning something when you have those new players.
They're trying to prove a point right now. They certainly are.
They're learning that you turn it on, and they can. Carolina may be able to do the same thing.
We got to see.
We got to see. Also,
Cam might get knocked out.
Right. Congratulations to Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. The fastest to 40,000 yards in the history of NFL. Quietly, you don't hear him spoken in reference to the same, what we call hype, as say a Breeze, as a Peyton Manning in his days, and then of Tom Brady. Of course, he's still exceptional, but he creeped in, and he's blowing out the numbers and on the yard. So I'm just want to give my respect to somebody who quietly is under the radar and proving that even when they're trying to recover and regain their strength to sit back and compete in the NFC, he quietly got 40,000. Got to give respect to him.
Bravo.
All right. Thanks for the screen, bro. Thanks for the screen. All right, we're going to go over to what I call the spotlight performance. Everybody already knows this. In your wildest dreams, The day that you sit there and go like, I'm about to sit back and rack up 6 quarterback sacks in one game against the Dallas Cowboys. If you ever had to have your mark shine, 6 between.
It's a record for them, and the other record is 7.
Look,
Derek Thomas did it against Seattle.
But this is not. This is more about who this guy is. He's only had like 6 sacks between 2 or 3 years combined.
Right, he had only one previous sack this year.
Right. So, what made this happen? Now, here's the part where I'm asking you.
Weakness on the line.
This is what I'm saying. This goes to the part where you and I have discussed this before. Tyron Smith, the man that sits back and says, "Oh, look, I know how to put the weight of that line and make it stabilize behind it. I can cause all kind of havoc and everything." You replace an offensive lineman with a newbie. That's fresh blood. They showed the examples, Mario, on commercial with Adrian Claiborne, who well-spoken, loved the interview that he did. You can tell he's a calming, very, kind of surreal attitude and persona. When they showed the replacement, I just felt bad. This was bad. Imagine your debut. It's you, Mario, linebacker. You're going against the former, back in the day, Lawrence Taylor type. And he says, well, you're going to have to go up against LT, but you're the backup. You're fresh meat.
Well, my thing is you're supposed to want these moments. It's your chance to excel, to come through. So you're supposed to want those moments. They didn't do it.
No.
The replacement didn't do it.
Nope.
From what I understand, even the guy who went out first was moved over from guard to tackle.
Yep.
He went out, and then they took a backup tackle.
It's hard.
He just got eaten alive. So it doesn't make any difference to me. If you're backup, you're supposed to be ideally just slightly...
a little bit better?
Slightly behind the starter. Or maybe have a different area where you're actually better. You might be better at run blocking, but he's better at run. But he's better at pass blocking and almost as good as run blocking. It could be shit like that, so you never know. But whatever, they got it handled to him.
Good man.
And like I said, the record is Derek Thomas, 7 against the Seattle.
Look, I'm saying this. Everybody says it's nothing like game.
There's like a face mask there, but okay.
Everybody says it's game time. The one thing that you're usually not prepared for is when the light is shining and you've never had that experience. So it's brand new. And you have to set aside that you now are going to work at game speed, something you haven't been doing. And then they're going to put you against somebody who actually looks at all the nuances of how you stand, your foot speed. He was getting blown by like it was fat express delivery mail, man. It was the game time speed, I think, totally caught him off guard. So I'm just saying, is this more about Adrian Claiborne or less about Dallas offensive line or the offensive line position where, of course, I don't even know the guy's name. I didn't even want it. I was just so busy looking. I said, why weren't I going to use his name? Because he got eaten alive, man.
First of all, he showed exceptional hustle on a bunch of the sacks where he didn't give up, right? Where he kept coming. Kept coming. So he showed exceptional hustle and determination. So that's there.
Okay. All right.
And to get 6, I don't care if it's against the backup. That's ridiculous.
Right. I know.
They start pulling everybody and their mother over the block.
No, they're doing this. They're making phone calls.
Well, even though you have to wonder what was the coach's adjustment to that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we're just going to touch NBA real quick, and then we're going to get to the lead story here. Youngest to get a triple-double, Lonzo Ball. First triple-double for him, and the youngest to get it. Is it a big deal?
Yeah, it is. Even though, like I said, I think he's a rookie, you guys, and he's young. You got to allow him some room to grow. I think he's doing a nice adjustment, showing maturity. Can't ask for more. Stay focused.
Yeah.
Be reasonable. Be humble. Stay focused. So I'm a supporter of his, and he's a rookie, you guys. You're going to get schooled by some. This is the NBA. Come on now.
Right.
There's a lot of games, too. So, Just give him. I'll give him some applause.
Yeah, you got to, man, because let me just. Look. the NBA or professional sports, they don't necessarily wait to make stats a name. Sometimes they want to make a name off of your name. So he's an easy target this year for people to step up. And they say, I think the part that's going to happen is you're going to find some coaches realizing certain players could always step up and play harder defense, but they waited for Alonzo Ball and the machine of marketing. And coach is going to turn around and say, so all this time you could play this hard, so you just waited for somebody to have a target on their back. This is about money. So people make their names not just by scoring a lot of points. So I just wanted to give props to the man. He actually said it doesn't make any difference because they didn't win. They lost to, the Greek Freak Milwaukee Bucks. But still, celebration. All right. This is just simple. Kyrie. Hey, you guys, Boston Celtics, they got 12 consecutive wins, man. Is that a big deal?
Yeah, it's a big deal because what if the Boston Celtics with Kyrie Irving actually beat Cleveland in the playoffs? I'm a LeBron fan, but he can lose sometime.
Look.
I'm a LeBron fan. I support LeBron, but Kyrie can have his day. I'm just saying, I just stay out of it. I never root against LeBron,
right?
Because I like him too much,
right?
But I can stay out of it. You know what I'm saying, or root for. So I don't root against him, but that's a big deal. Because Cleveland doesn't look.
They're not on the stats here. There's a reason why.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, where are they?
See, I knew it. I know Mario was looking for it. He says, how come I don't see Cleveland? I said, these stats you see, Mario, are only for the teams that actually score more points than give up. So Toronto is the cutoff point. The plus minus is in the difference there. So and so Cleveland is not even next behind Toronto. They're a few spots down, which gets to my point.
Wow.
That when you look at the teams that are flourishing right now, although it's early, first half of the year, I'm not getting excited. Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons,
that's right.
Orlando Magic, Washington is expected to be there. New York is above 500. Now, let me just say this, Mario. Is it a coincidence that Carmelo Anthony's not there and they're playing over 500? Now, I'm just saying sometimes synergy could be it. Why are they playing above 500 the first year that Carmelo's not there? I'll let you answer that one.
Well, to be seen.
Wait a minute.
Because they seem happy enough, so I'm comfortable. Maybe because it takes a while to gel.
Okay.
Okay, we're only, it takes, the question is how long, but it takes a while to gel.
Right.
And you have a bunch of these teams. I have to see more of damn near everybody, Vic, because there's so many new combinations. Well, we have to see, right? I'm just saying we have to see. Some stuff doesn't look like it's gelling like we thought, on the other hand.
Right.
We're wondering about Cleveland.
Right.
So there we go.
Holla. Hey, look, all I'm saying is this. You don't want to be on a team and then all of a sudden they are playing better. No matter what they say, they're going to point to the departure and say, it wasn't that you wasn't producing. It's just the synergy wasn't there with all the other players. So maybe taking the headlines away from Carmelo Anthony.
Well, look, you have Houston at the top above Golden State Warriors, and that's one of the things to watch. Right.
Well, that's in the West. I'm just trying to figure. See, I want to get to the question: do you think New York is going to make the playoffs this year? See, that's where I was going.
No.
But
they'll be.
Okay, now you just.
I don't know. Like I said, they're not going far.
Wait,
they're
no.
Improved. I think they're improved.
They're not going to make it to the playoffs, you think?
I think they're improved.
Okay.
Their division, I forgot how they get, because in the NBA now, the top, I don't know what their rules are, whether or not they can make it as a wild card.
Top 8 in each, East, West, top 8 teams. Let's see,
top 8, so 4 from each.
8 in the Eastern Conference.
Go.
Yeah, you're going to have the 8.
Okay. And then, because almost everybody goes, except
That's what I'm just saying, man. See, I'm only trying to let you know.
They're going to be amongst the worst. It's just that the Wizards are looking good.
Right.
Toronto, theoretically, is still strong.
Right. See, I'm only saying that I'm not.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. And the reason why
Even though they're improved.
they've started off way better than they have in the past.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're improved to me. But
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
That improved.
The only story I got for the over here for the Western Conference is really simple. Golden State got a fire in their ass, and they whooping not 6-pack, 12-pack, 24-pack, and they're coming. Houston is still winning. We know that's not a big deal. Chris Paul's not in yet, and they're still winning. They're holding ground. Denver's in the third spot. San Antonio has to adjust because, of course, they're waiting. Right, so they're doing their thing. Minnesota is playing where expected. Memphis found a stride where all of a sudden now they have lost a few games. I think that's the aging thing that comes in. You have to kind of transition out those players because it's hard to sustain. New Orleans playing 500 or above, and then Portland in the rear. I didn't listen to the other teams because if you're not scoring, if you're giving up more points than you're scoring, why should we talk about you? That's called defense, right?
Important, they're 500.
Yeah. Yeah, they were expected to do a little something. So, okay. I had to go over to this, and I don't have enough time to cover this, and I'm going to do this in part 1 and part 2. The part 1 is that I titled this Paul Robeson, Unlike Any Other Black Athlete in American History. And the reason why I said that is because I needed to figure out a way to cover everything he has done. So I'm just going to read off just a tidbit, and we're going to revisit this on part 2. Paul Robeson was an American-based singer and actor who became involved with the civil rights movement. At Rutgers College, he was an All-American football player, and then he had an international career in singing as well as acting in theater and movies. In 1915, Robeson won an academic scholarship to Rutgers University, where he was twice named Consensus All-American and was the class valedictorian. Almost 80 years later, he was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. He received his LLB from Columbia Law School while playing in the National Football League. At Columbia, he sang and acted off-campus productions. After graduating, he became a figure in the Harlem Renaissance. That's just part. And the other part to this, that he actually spoke 20 languages. I stopped. I wanted to do a whole expose on him because I know people know him.
He's a fascinating character.
This is where I said he's an athlete.
I considered him kind of a mentor in a lot of ways.
Right.
A role model in a sense. He's one of those people when I ran across him, because, Vic, of his scope between his intelligence and his sports and his being active and traveling.
Look, when you say... wait a minute, let me say this. He totally dispelled, by me looking at this, the thing that people think today. Oh, they're just athletes. They don't have a brain. They don't apply themselves. Totally. They don't do this. I'm going to see if I can find somebody who has the worthiness of the background and expanse profile resume that he has, and was a towering figure in football back in those days. 6'3".
They blackballed him and did everything they could to stop him.
I'm not going to get into the health issues and everything he dealt with. I'm literally going like this. When I read, I didn't know what part to bring to this. So my question is, do you know of any other athlete who literally can say this, the pro sports or professional sports spectrum wasn't allowing cats like me in, but exceptionally, I was able to get in and play. Not enough. My academia is well above anyone I know with the correlation of athletic prowess. There's nobody, right?
No one.
Okay.
There's the stories that remind you of excellence.
Unbelievable.
Like Jim Thorpe.
Unbelievable.
Who was still remarkable in what he did. Still didn't have the academic.
Not the academia.
He got a law degree.
Man, this look.
Now you have to look at the back. This is like 1915.
15, right, man.
So this is back then. You talk about racism.
This is part.
Oh Lord.
Right, minute. I only wanted to introduce this because my point was more. I needed 2 segments to cover this guy, and I needed to do it in such a way to pay respect to someone who says I broke the mold. As it relates to, you can't put me in a box of either or. It's one thing to excel in all the sports that he played in. I mean, he wasn't just that. Give you some more information. Paul was a natural athlete. 6'3", 220, 30 pounds, strapping high school fullback who had no trouble earning a scholarship to prestigious Rutgers University in 1915 at the age of 17, becoming only the third member of his race to be admitted at the time. He excelled in football, baseball, basketball, and track and field, graduating as a 4-letter man. He was also the holder of Phi Beta Kappa Key in his junior year and was a selected member of their honorary society, Cap and Skull. Moreover, he was the class valedictorian and his speech was already preaching idealism. Okay, like I said, I need a part 2 on this, Martha. And the reason why I'm saying this, I dare anyone to compare as it relates to, and I'm only saying specifically right now, I'm putting him in the box of the black athlete. I'm going to be searching for our next new sports segment next week to see if I can find somebody since his time that compares to the academia and the professional sports.
It'll be difficult. He was unique. He's a historical figure worth noting for a lot of reasons. And that's why, for me, he stood out for a lot of reasons also.
Wow. Hey, look, you guys, I wanted to end it there. Part 2 is coming. He has a lifespan of things. I just thought I could introduce and say, is he, and we're still going to answer that question, the epitome of the black athletic professional and academia as far as achievement? Man, I'm out, man.
Victor Allen's New Sports. Unique fan base. View of sports, written and directed by Victor Allen, is a recurring segment of the Morning Call with Mario show. Here every week. Be part of it. Dress appropriately. Sports bras and jock straps. Be ready. More than just sports. New Sports.